China's doing so unbelievably bad, and it's so bad that it even shocked me, a China watcher. Now, I got some inside information that's gonna blow your mind, so make sure you watch until the end of the video. You're gonna wanna hear this if you want to fully understand the sheer chaos that is ripping through the country. If you're not using a VPN, you are incredibly vulnerable. A VPN is a secure tunnel that blocks what you're doing on the internet from prying eyes on the outside and from your ISP, and it also keeps you safe. The best VPN is Surfshark VPN. Once you connect to one of the many fast and secure servers, you are then safe, protected, and most importantly, anonymous while you're online. You can install and use Surfshark with one account on unlimited devices to make sure that you're safe all across the board. Surfshark is not only super easy to use, but it also opens up the entire internet for you. For example, if you hop around to a different server in a different country, you can see different Netflix libraries. Maybe there's a show you wanted to watch and you couldn't see it on your home internet. You can avoid price discrimination. For example, if you hop onto a different server, you might get different prices on hotels and cars and better deals on all kinds of stuff. There's so much you can do with Surfshark VPN. Go to surfshark.deals/Lawai86. Get up to 4 extra months. That's surfshark.deals/Lawai86 and use the code Lawai86 to protect your online privacy today. Listen, I look at Chinese propaganda for a living, and what I try to do is analyze it and figure out what's really happening, or actually figure out what the Chinese government's actually trying to do and then let you guys know. Well, the floodgates of Chinese propaganda have just been opened, and I have seen a torrential downpour of nonsense about how amazing China's economy is doing and how incredible everything in the country is doing and performing. And when you see this kind of insanely on the nose reaction and deflection that China's doing right now, you definitely know that something is up. Now here's the deal. Every time someone challenges me and claims that China's actually doing pretty well, especially economically, I have to step back and really get out of my bias zone and look at what is actually happening on the ground with people and their money. The thing is, the propaganda videos right now are absolutely rampant. Look at the people shopping and look at how the economy is doing so well. But the real truth is that the people are not shopping. Whole shopping streets are being abandoned. The housing market is collapsing at the biggest rate in mankind's history. And the be-all and end-all is that China needs countries like the USA and the rest of the world to buy their stuff. But there's bad news, and it's just beginning. And that is that it's stuck, and possibly forever. The middle income trap. This is something that happens when a country cannot continue growing. It just goes stagnant. Now, middle income is important to understand. It's not like middle class US salaries that we're talking about. China is going to be stuck in an average salary of about $9,000 per year. That works out to be about $750 per month. And that is actually incredibly, unbelievably skewed because China's wealth inequality is absolutely insane. But let's pay that no mind. Let's just use the official data. The thing is, I actually spoke to college graduates in Chongqing, a very wealthy and important city, and they're making about $250 per month, about $3,000 per year. And that's in professional positions with an actual college degree. Anyway, the average salary in the USA is about $60,000 per year. Yeah, we can use Japan as an example. That's a country that stagnated, but they stagnated when they were rich. Japan stagnated with an average salary of about $30,000 to $40,000 per year. China's stuck here at $9,000 per year, and it probably won't get much better. Now, this is bad for China's propaganda department because it goes against their narrative of perpetual growth. And here's why China actually got stuck. It's become less urgent for rich people, politicians, elites, the people that run the country, to actually work hard anymore. They don't have to make painful reforms. They don't have to innovate because now those elites live a very good life. They think that they've made it, but that means growth stagnates and the country falls off people's radars a bit because it's no longer growing so quickly and people don't want to invest anymore. And that can also become a vicious cycle. They didn't make it to being rich first. You have to be a successful nation and get rich and stay there if you want to be a big player on the world stage. Also, they didn't develop products that are bestsellers and keep investors in the country. They make cheap stuff that most people don't even need. They also have a property bubble that destroyed a lot of people's wealth. Keep in mind, there was nothing to invest in China to begin with. The very few opportunities there were, most of them were in the property sector. That's about to all go up in smoke. Now, normally, when a property bubble pops, it leaves people with some cheap homes they can at least live in. But here's the deal in China, when the property bubble pops, they're not just losing a home. They're not just losing 30% or 50% of their investment. They're losing 100% of their investment. A lot of people's investment portfolios were completely tied up in these ridiculous properties. Now you have entire ghost cities with capacities for millions of people simply rotting away, with people losing their entire life savings as the buildings collapse. Another reason China's completely stagnated is they have mountains of debt, and they have to pay a lot in interest, or they're going to default and pay a lot more for further borrowing. Another thing is you needed foreigners to invest in China, but they're vilifying foreigners. They're putting foreign executives under house arrest for espionage and conducting due diligence on potential investments, which really scares away people that want to do business in the country. They've transformed Hong Kong into an Orwellian hellscape place that just scares people away from Hong Kong to do business. It is now a trend in the investment sphere for people to take their money out of China investments and move them towards India or Mexico and other countries. In fact, India's stock market just outperformed China's. While economists were debating on whether or not China was going to get stuck in this middle income trap, it's now clear that China's been stuck in this middle income trap for at least 5 to 10 years, maybe even more. I spoke to a few experts who not only deal with China economically, but help Western clients invest their money abroad. What is happening in that sphere right now tells us so much. Investment firms that were skeptical about China were previously criticized as paranoid or behind the trends. China's the new thing. But now they're being championed as fortune tellers. It's an insane shift in perspective. The question we're hearing now is, how do we hedge our China investments? Can we reduce our exposure to China? What are your thoughts on China? We even get the nuanced question, what do you think about Hong Kong? Investors are being turned off by China. And remember, this is important because this is how China gets its money. It can't grow without foreign investment. This anti-American and anti-foreigner initiative, the bullying of the Philippines, China more openly supporting Russia and teaming up with Iran, how all that could result in sanctions against China and the fall of the rule of law in Hong Kong, it's so inexcusably bad. So bad that it seems that more have woken up. The latest stabbings of Americans won't help one bit. Remember the nonsense buzzword that China was throwing around before? De-dollarization? You've actually might have heard that word creep into other spheres outside of Chinese media. Well, I'm sorry to tell the people that have drank the de-dollarization Kool-Aid, this idea that the world's going to stop trading with the US dollar and the US is going to become irrelevant. The world didn't stop trading with the US dollar, and they didn't start using the Chinese RMB. In fact, almost no one did. U.S. partners have strengthened their ties with the U.S., and people are skeptical about doing business with China. After all those failed debt trap projects that they promised and not delivered on, like failed railways in Africa or debt trap ports in Sri Lanka and countless Belt and Road Initiative projects, geopolitically, America is starting to look mighty fine in comparison to China, to countries in Southeast Asia or South America or even Central Asia. No, it's not de-dollarization that China needs to care about anymore, because that's not happening with them at the helm. It's another D word, decoupling. That's what China's scared of. This is basically an unholy swear word in China. China cannot and will not accept the USA or any country to decouple from it and move on to other countries for manufacturing and investment. This is the crux of everything. China's propaganda campaigns at the very heart that show you people shopping and spending money and show this booming, healthy economy of skyscrapers and consumption. This is what they want you to see because they want you to think that everything's okay. And the other crux of this propaganda campaign is to convince you, as a consumer in the West or wherever you are, that you need China to make your stuff. And the truth is, you don't. This is why you're seeing tons and tons of videos of YouTubers traveling around China's Potemkin fake tourist sites. The Chinese government screws up and sends me and my friend emails too that, they'll pay us to go travel around China and show that everything's amazing. China's spending money right now to make sure that you think everything is okay. That's why you see massive cover-ups of Americans that get stabbed in China. The Chinese government doesn't want you to see that. They want you to think that everything's fine. This is why you're seeing Chinese people getting arrested for talking about the downturn in the economy. They want you to think that everything's okay. This is why you're seeing billions of dollars being pumped into the image of China's economy rather than the economy itself, because they want you to think that everything's okay. My friends, everything is definitely not okay, and countless fleeing Chinese migrants running to the USA should probably be enough to convince you of that. Americans are certainly not jumping the border fences in Burma to get into China, I'll tell you that much. The real deal is that China fell down, and they're probably not getting back up. Guys, I'm right around the corner from 1 million subscribers, that big gold play button. I can't wait to get there with all your support. So if you can, please make sure you're subscribed. Guys, if you want to see an up-to-date live show every single Friday about China, Chinese politics, Chinese viral news, China's society, everything good, bad, in between, the funny, the not funny, all that stuff is on The China Show, the only show you need to watch if you want to stay up to date on China. So go over to The China Show and make sure you're subscribed there. And I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.